Hi everybody, welcome back in. I am so sorry about that. Apparently I had a really bad wireless connection. So I hope you can join me back in now. Hi Lisa, sorry about before. I had a really bad connection and had to reconnect. So I'm hoping that you all can see me now. But anyway, we're going to be working on the quilt along today. I am fresh back from Quilt Market. My friend Lisa, who is watching today, she came and she helped me out. Quilt Market and Quilt Festival. It was a whirlwind. And by the way, did you know that the Houston Astros won the World Series? And yes, 3 of the days, hey Nedra, hey Christine, 3 of the days that we were there, the World Series was being played, and so there were a lot of people in Houston, but it was a lot of fun. And actually the LA Dodgers were staying in the hotel behind us, so it was kind of neat to be there while the whole World Series was going on, and it was just a lot of fun. But this actually, I've been going to Quilt Market since 2001, so 16 years, but this is my first time at Festival. So it was a great experience. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about all that. I'm going to do kind of a Quilt Market, Quilt Festival recap, so stay with me past the quilt along because I've got some things to show you, which I think you really like as well. But first, I want to dig into the quilt along. I hope some of you are going to join me for the quilt along. And today is kind of the official day to get started, but yes, I'm going to repost the video so that for those who want to join in after the fact can. So if you want to do it with a friend, hit that share button now so that your friends can join in, or anybody who might be interested in joining in on the quilt along can do it. And they can start at any time. It doesn't have to be this week. It's kind of fun if we all do it together though. So hit the share button. Let's get the word out there that we're doing this quilt along, and let's get started. I'm going to tell you kind of what you need to do, and it's not a whole lot of work because we're going to work on the Proud Mary quilt from my book, Splash of Color. So for those of you who don't have the book yet, you can do a couple things. I had announced it a couple weeks ago. You can purchase it from me online. If you do, I will sign it for you. If not, Amazon has them. Amazon has them at a discount. If your local quilt shop has them, you can get them there. But you need to have the book to get all your yardage requirements, etc. for that. Yeah, definitely hit the share button. I see some of you sharing this out there, so if you could share it, then more people can join in on the quilt along, and they'll get to hear about Quilt Market and Quilt Festival too. So go ahead, grab my book, Splash of Color, to get started on the quilt along. We're going to be doing the Proud Mary quilt. Now I'm going to show you the 2 quilts. I have them here behind me. And in the book, I do show you 2 versions of my quilt. And the first one, the book is called Splash of Color, a Rainbow of Brilliant Black and White Quilts. Now I'm going to hold this up, and I know I can't back up far enough, but here is my Proud Mary quilt. Okay, so it's based on black and white prints and brights, and this one I did in black and white prints, which are some of my faves, and I used groupings of K-facet brights. So I'm going to talk about choosing and selecting your fabrics if you haven't done that yet, okay? So anyway, Dorothy's having a problem with the viewing. You can watch it later if you can't watch it now. So the second quilt, the alternate quilt in the book, The Splash of Color, is this one. It's done a little more modern. So you can see it's, let me step back a little bit. Okay, so you can see this one we did in solids, black and white solids with monochromatic bright colors. So you can do it in a lot of different ways. And last time, oops, my demo stuff just fell. Pardon me, I'm out of the picture, sorry. So you can do it in a lot of different ways. And as I said last time, I'm going to be doing the Proud Mary quilt in my Fresh Pickins Batik fabric collection. So it's going to be a little twist on the whole black and white. I'm not doing black and white this time. I want to give it a different look. So you too can do that as well. So those are the two quilts, and let's kind of get started on where you need to prep for next week. It's really a cool quilt to do. I have taught it a lot, and you can see if you go on my Facebook page, and I even have a Facebook group, Splash of Color. Just go, I'll actually put the link afterwards so you can click on it, but it's on Facebook, and you can, if you don't belong to the group, you can join the group and see what other people have done. So hit that share button so other people can join in on Quilt Along. So the first thing you're going to do to get ready for the Quilt Along is, obviously you're going to get the book. This is the quilt, and we are going to talk about, I'm going to turn the camera down so you can see what I need you to get done for next week. And it's not a whole lot of work. So let's do that first off, okay? So I'm turning the camera down so you can see. I'm going to bring some things into the picture. So you're going to need, we're going to talk about fabrics and colors here, okay? So you need to have 4 color groupings, which is what I did. Well, you could do more if you want to. It's your quilt. But what I did is I have pinks, and I actually, because I'm doing it from my Fresh Pickings collection, it's going to be a little different. But I have 3 different fabrics worked in here. I have the dark pink cherries, the light pink background cherries, and the light pink. So I have 3 different ones in this because I just didn't have another pink to do. And then I have 4 different oranges. If you have 4 different colors in your groupings, it's going to work best for you. If you don't, that's okay. So I have 4 different oranges from my Fresh Pickings as well, okay? So you can see I have a kind of a medium, a dark, a light, and another medium there, okay? Then I have 4 different greens. I have a medium, a light limey one, and another kind of medium in here, and then a dark green. So I have a color grouping of green, and then I have a color grouping of yellows as well. And I think this one I also only have 3, but that's okay. If you have more you want to add to yours, you can, but try and stick with just 4 colors in each grouping. No more than 4. If you want to do 2, if you want to do 1, that's fine. And you'll see why when we start putting the quilt together. Actually, let me grab this one quilt again. When we do the quilt, when you're looking here, you can see there are 4 pieces. So if you have more than 4, you're going to have to make separate blocks because only 4 different reds will fit in one grouping. If you do 2, it'll be the opposing ones. If you do 1 fabric choice, it'll be all of them. So just think about that when you're picking out your fabric colors or your fabric patterns to go in here. But it's a grouping of 1 color exists in one of the circles, okay? If that makes sense. And it'll make more sense to you actually when you get the book and you're able to take a peek at that. So what you're going to do once you get your groupings, you're going to cut these, and you're going to cut them into, you're going to cut 1 strip from each of, and in the book I tell you, I give you, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different color groupings. Here I only have 4. I have a pink, an orange, a green, and a yellow. But in the book you have 7. And you're going to cut 1 strip, that's it, from each color group, or each of your 4 purples, each of your 4 yellows, each of your 4 greens, blues, turquoise, reds, and oranges. And you will cut from them a strip that's 1.5 inch by 42 inch, and then you're going to subcut them into rectangles at 1.5 by 5.5 inch. Now that is all right here in the book, so it's there for you to see. So you definitely need to get the book, and so you have those instructions. But you'll get 1 strip. So in essence, what I did, so here's my orange. So I had one strip, 1.5 inch by 42 inch of this orange, one strip of this orange, one strip of this orange, and one strip of this orange. And then I subcut them down into the 1.5 by 5.5 inch rectangles. That's important, okay? And the reason we do this is it gives us more variety in the end, okay? So now, once you have that done, you're gonna have your black and your white prints, okay? Now, for what I'm doing, I'm using my Fresh Pickins fabric collection, and I am not gonna do black and white prints, as I said before. Now, when you look at the quilt, you have the black and white. You have the white here and the black here, the white here and the black here. So see how it's this positive, negative? And you're going to cut from the, for the backgrounds here that get paired up with your colors, you're gonna cut rectangles. And you need 100 of those rectangles. So what you're gonna need, if you're gonna do a black and white version, you're gonna need 50 black rectangles and 50 white rectangles. For me, I needed 100 rectangles, and the rectangles are cut at 4.5 by 5.5 inches, okay? So it's a little shorter this way and a little longer this way. And from each of, so if you're doing, you know, the half black and the half white, from each, the black and the white, you need 8 strips of the black at 4.5 by 42 inches and 8 strips of the white at 4.5 by 42. That will yield you 50 rectangles a piece for both. If you're just doing one color, you need 16 strips so that you can subcut them into 100 rectangles at 4.5 by 5.5, okay? So that's what you need for there. You need a stack of those. So now you've got your rectangles, your color rectangles, and your background rectangles, okay? Then you also need to cut for the outer part, you need to cut your, I'm gonna push these aside so I can get the other ones in here. So for this part here, now we're talking about this part, the outside, not this inside circle part. We're talking about this part here. We need to cut larger strips because this is a bigger piece, okay? So when you cut those strips, you need to cut, if you're doing a black and white version again, you need to cut 12 white strips at 6 3/4 by 42 inches, and you need to cut 12 strips of the black at 6 3/4 by 42. Now for me, I'm doing it with my Fresh Pickins line this time, and I've chosen to cut 24 total of multicolor prints from my collection. So there's 24 total prints or total strips here so that I can cut my Drunkard's Path piece from it later. So these are the prints that I chose. If you can see, those are the prints that I chose, and I cut 24 at 6 3/4 inches by 42, which will fit my template plastic. That's the next thing we're going to talk about. In the book, I give you the drawings so that you can make your own template plastic, okay? So let me show you. Here's what you get in the book. So this is my teacher's book, so it's a little floppy. This is what you get in the book right here, okay? So your backgrounds and your circle backgrounds. And that will get you, you'll be able to make your templates with those, just like I did here, okay? So I've got my templates, and I've also got little reminders on them. So if you can see what I wrote on them, I wrote that it's for the Proud Mary quilt, and I wrote that I needed how many of each I needed on there. So I needed, for this unit, Unit A, I need to cut 50 black, 50 white, and the same thing, oops, I had it upside down, sorry about that. For Unit B, I needed to cut 50 black, 50 white. So it makes it easier if you do that, then you can cut these out and have them ready. I just used regular old template plastic. Some people will want to make a copy of the templates from the book on your copier, and then they'll adhere it to the template plastic, which works too, and it's a guideline. So I'm going to show you how to do the cutting of these, how to cut your fabric out of these next week. So, but all you need to do right now is what I'm telling you as far as your strips. These 24 strips, you're going to do 12 black, 12 white, or if you're doing something like me this time with the batiks, you need a total of 24 strips at 6 3/4 inches. And then you need your rectangles, 100 of these. If you're doing black and white, you need 50 black, 50 white, and then you need your colored rectangles, okay? So you need those. Thank you for all the love. I hope you guys are sharing this so other people can join in on the quilt along, because it's going to be fun. I can't wait to see what everybody's making. So now I'm going to give you one more thing that you can do if you get all this cutting done, and it doesn't take you long to do the cutting for the strips and all. So one more thing. So once you have your colors all figured out, okay, and you've got your rectangles, the other thing that you can do, and it will not take you long at all to do, is you're then going to pair up your rectangles with your strips, okay? So now you've got 100 of these rectangles and 100 of these rectangles, the background rectangles, and you're going to sew one of the colored strips to one of the background rectangles. And then when you press, you're going to press it down towards the rectangle, okay? And that's all you need to do to get prepped for next week. So I'm going to turn the camera back up, and we'll talk about it a little more because I have a feeling some of you might have some questions. So if you have some questions about this right now, ask me. I can see them scrolling along. If I don't answer them right now, I will answer them after I post it, so you can continue to comment and ask questions, and I will answer them. So if I don't actually catch the questions now, don't worry, I will answer your questions. But the first thing you need to do is definitely get the book, Splash of Color, my book. We love my book. I love my book. You can get it from Amazon or my site, Splash of Color, a rainbow of brilliant black and white quilts. This is going to give you all your yardage amounts that you need for the Proud Mary quilt. It's a great quilt. It's a fun quilt to do, and I'm going to teach you some cool techniques to get this together. It's going to be fun. It's a little bit of a design process too for you, so you're going to get to kind of create your own vision. I'm going to show you in the book, and I held up those quilts for you, but I know it's hard to see here because I can't back up enough because my long arm is behind me. So once you get the book though, you're going to see. So here's the alternate version. Okay, so that's the one with all the solid fabrics, monochromatic. Okay, just so you kind of get the whole picture, right? And then here is the print version with the black and white prints. Now the quilt itself is not that large, so it's very doable. It's 60 by 60, so it makes a really nice size. You can certainly make it larger if you want. So I'm looking forward to seeing what fabrics you pick. If you choose black and white fabrics in the book, I do talk a lot about selecting your fabrics. Make sure you've got, I like to work with clean, crisp colors. So clean, crisp white, clean, crisp black. And if you get a creamy one in there, just make sure it's working. And I also like to work with medium to small scale prints as well. That works really nice. And then just throw in your splash of color, whatever colors you like. I like the brighter the better, but that's your personal choice. So do what you want there. So that's the quilt along part. So who wants to hear about Quilt Market and Quilt Festival? I've got some things to show you. So it was kind of fun, and I posted a ton of pictures on Facebook, and I also did a couple blog posts the past couple days as well. So I want to show you a few things because this is a precursor to a few episodes down the road for my Watch Me Wednesdays, because we're going to do some giveaways after the quilt along. The quilt along is probably going to be 3 episodes, so definitely hit that share button so more people can join in. And then they can see about the giveaways too coming up. So at Quilt Market, we introduced my fabric line, Blue Moon. So this is the fabric line for those of you who love the blues and the purples. I currently have the strip packs in stock, and I also have the stack packs in stock. So the stack packs are 10-inch squares. So we introduced this fabric line at Quilt Market. I posted a lot of pictures of the booth. The booth looked fabulous. Thank you, Lisa, for helping me. You were wonderful. And I'll tell you what, there was nothing like having Lisa on my team because she's way taller than me, so she can reach things that I can't, and she helped me set up the booth really well. So if you want these are currently available on the site, but the yardage won't be in until the end of January, I think, February. But a couple other things that were in the booth that I want to share with you that was kind of cool. So, hi Gail. So this was in my booth, right? Do you love it? This is the mini mod dog. So my friends Linda and Carl Sullivan, who are also fellow designers, asked if they can work with my Blue Moon fabric, and actually I was like, yes, of course you can. So they created this little mini mod dog pillow. But wait, it doesn't end there. So isn't that adorable? So they created another one. So 2 pillows, mini mod dog. And then, if that wasn't enough, they did a little something extra. They created this little placemat with this moon around the back of the dog to show that it was a blue moon. Isn't that cool? So my friends, and I'm going to show you, my friends at CVQuiltworks, they're the ones who create this pattern, and I'm going to give you a heads up a little bit. So stay tuned. Maybe after the quilt along, maybe 4 weeks from now, we're going to be doing some giveaways, and it's going to involve the mini mod dog, and it's going to involve CVQuiltworks, and it's going to involve Blue Moon. So 3 hints there. So I hope you join me for that. So those were kind of cool. Those were in my booth, and I was it was so fun to have them there. Then this was also in my booth, and I don't know if you've seen this. So look, I have another Aurifil collection. So I know how much a lot of you love Aurifil. I do too. And I want to show you the colors of the thread. Can you see those colors? I also like to add in some variegated colors in there too. So there are some variegated blues and purples in there for you to use when you use the Blue Moon collection. And I also partnered up with Marie Bostwick and Deb Tucker. I know some of you love Marie Bostwick and Deb Tucker. And Deb Tucker designed this quilt right here around Marie Bostwick's new book, and we have a great promo going, so ask your shops to join in. It's a really cool deal. So one more thing that was in my booth that I didn't show you. So all of you who did my spinning wheels quilt along, remember the pop-up I did and I showed you? So look at what else you can do. So we redid my friend Lisa, powerhouse that she is. I asked her if she would remake the spinning wheels quilt in my Blue Moon fabric. So we did. We had it remade, and she made the entire quilt again. She's made lots of these blocks, and I think it came out fantastic in this collection. And I'll also have something to show you when it comes back to me in a few weeks that we did with the spinning wheels in the Blue Moon. So Market was great, saw lots of great friends, had the World Series there, but then we stayed on for festival because I did some demos in a booth for one day. Man, was I tuckered out. I was there for a week and a half. But I got 2 free days with my friend Lisa, and we took a class. Yes, I took a class. Oh, it was kind of nice to be on the student side and not the teacher side this time. So it was a lot of fun, and we just took a fun class. So look what we made. We made fabric bowls. Are they not the cutest things? And we did it with my Fresh Pickins collection. It was so much fun, and it didn't take long at all. I'm so proud, and we actually wore them as hats too. We were a little bit on the silly side, and we put them on our head. But right now, currently, I'm using this on my end table where I sit in the living room, and my sewing stuff kind of goes in there, threads, needles, etc. So it's a cute little basket to have around. So that was kind of fun to take a class. We got to go to the winners circle celebration where they announced the winners of the show, and then the next day we went on a tour, and we went out to some quilt shops in Katy. Then we went to the Texas Quilt Museum in LaGrange, and another quilt shop, and we went to Round Top, to the Round Top Festival, and then back to another quilt shop, and then we went and got preview night. We walked into the show and got to walk the floor and see more friends, more booths, etc. But I have 2 blog posts up on it, so you can see some more pictures there too. But that was my my Quilt Market Festival week-and-a-half whirlwind, so it was kind of fun. Hopefully, and I got to see a lot of my Facebook friends too, so any of you who are out there watching me, I'm so glad you stopped by. And in particular, I remember Lindsay Gailey, she stopped by, and she watched me Wednesday every week, and I want to give a shout out to her because I told her I would. So if you're watching, Lindsay, I'm so glad I got to meet you in person. But anyway, so that's it in a nutshell. That's the Quilt Along. That's Quilt Market and Quilt Festival in a nutshell. I can't wait to see what you all pick out for your fabrics for the Quilt Along. Remember, hit that share button so other people can join in and kind of see where we're going with it. I can't wait to see everybody's Proud Mary. And by the way, the reason why I named it Proud Mary, I named the quilt Proud Mary was after my grandmother, whom I think about every single day. She's sorely missed. She was a big inspiration in my life, probably one of the strongest women that I know. So just a little background on that, and I do talk about that in the book as well. So go get your book, get your fabric, get your strips cut, and come on back here next week for some more Quilts Along fun. I'm so glad you all joined. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. I will answer them. Oh, yeah. Oh, Daphne, I just want to say thank you. She bought my new book in the shop at LaGrange. By the way, did you know that when I was at the shop in LaGrange at the Quilted Skein, I signed those books. So if you haven't looked in it yet, I signed it for you. So because we saw that they had my books there, and we took all of them and I signed each one. So you should have a signed copy if you got it this past week. So anyway, thanks for joining me, ladies. Put your questions, ladies and gentlemen. Put your questions in the comments. I'll answer them, and I'll see you back here next week. Have a great week, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.